Hi everyone, welcome to this video on linear inequalities for eMath. In this session, we'll go through what inequalities are, how to solve them, draw them on the number line, and even tackle some word problems. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So you may ask, what is actually a linear inequality? So a linear inequality actually compares expressions using signs like these. So it is kind of similar to a normal equation, but instead of using like equal signs, we use all these symbols that have different meanings. So we'll get into the different meanings in the next few slides. But how would you spot a linear equation? The question will ask you to solve something like this. How to solve it, you may ask? We will explain it later on. Alright, but before we solve anything, let's make sure that we understand the inequality symbols. It may seem very complicated, but let me show you a very cool way to remember the symbols using just your hands. So for example, this is me, okay? This is me. And I am a right-hander. So if I'm a right-hander, I can assume that my right side is stronger, okay? So I'll write it right here. Right, it means stronger. And this also means that my left side, which is my left arm, is weaker. So I want you to look at this symbol right here. If I were to give you this equation, and since this symbol points towards the left, I would say that x is weaker than 5. So in other words, I will say x is smaller than 5. If I were to change it around to another symbol, this, if I give you this equation, and since this symbol points towards the right, can I say that x is stronger than 2? In other words, x is greater than 2. So now that we have completed talking about these two, what about these with the little lines below? You can take the little line below as the meaning of equal. So for example, if we see this equation, we know that it is x being less than 5. But if we see the tiny bonus line below, we can think of it as x less than or equal to 5. Okay? So same for the other one. If we see this, we know that it is x more than 5. But if we see the tiny bonus line below, it is x more than or equal to 5. Okay, so after all that, here are some examples of what we just went through. So if we see a sign that points towards the right, remember my right hand is stronger, so it will mean that it is bigger. Okay? So this will mean that x is bigger than 8, which is also x greater than 8. And if we see the little bonus line below, we know that you have to add the meaning of equal to. And since this sign points towards the left, which means weaker or smaller, we know that x is smaller than 3 and also equal to 3.